speech that last one was. There we had a member new to the House as I am standing up and first of all pretending to lump praise upon a member of this Parliament who has been here for many years representing New Zealanders and constituents and working hard and coming forward with something that he believes in and believes will help New Zealand. And then we have an outright attack on that Member of Parliament. I've decided to change my speech a little bit after that disgraceful intervention from the last member, Stuart Nash. But Mr Nash did lose all credibility. At the end of his intervention, he said the next Labour Party Prime Minister will be Phil Goff. Well, at that stage, Mr Speaker, everybody on this side of the House and certainly on that side of the House, they switched off and stopped listening. I think, Mr Speaker, there's a reasonable chance that the next Labour Party Prime Minister could be Stuart Nash himself, and wouldn't that be a wonderful, wonderful country to live in? Now, Mr Speaker, I want to come directly to the bill, the Tariff Act 1998 Repeal Act. And as with members opposite, I won't be supporting this bill because I don't believe it's actually the best thing that we should be doing for the country and trade at this moment. It's a little bit like a can of coconut milk, Mr Speaker. It looks good and it smells good and we all want it, but actually when you dig down a bit deeper, we realise it's not good for you. That's right, Mr Speaker. Coconut milk and coconut cream, and I'll come and speak a bit more about that in a moment. Mr Speaker, the thing about trade negotiation is it's a little bit like a game of chess, and you don't give up all of your options or all of your advantages before you start playing the game. And unfortunately, this bill before us today would do exactly that. It would mean that when our negotiators went out to negotiate trade agreements on our behalf, we would have given up all of our advantages, all of the things we may trade away for better access for our exporters to other markets would be gone straight away, Mr Speaker. Now, New Zealand tariffs are imposed against a very small number of imported products and at extremely low levels. I think in 2008, 80% of produce goods imported into New Zealand were tariff-free, no restriction, and those that did have tariffs imposed against them, they were rated at between 5 and 10%. Now, the Tariff Act, as Jackie Dean, a very capable Member of Parliament from the South Island, has said, Mr Speaker, the Tariff Act does provide protection for New Zealand industries, and there are a number of industries that could perhaps not function as well because of a large import of foreign goods from other markets, and the Minister and Government has the ability to provide some protection through short-term protection tariffs to stop these goods from being imported, and I think that's very, very important. Mr Speaker, last year, along with a number of my colleagues and members from the other side of this House, had an opportunity to visit the Pacific Islands, and it was very interesting to have discussions with them. In fact, in a previous life before coming to this Parliament, I worked very closely with a number of Pacific Islands and spent a good 4 years with them negotiating trade access and trade agreements with the European Union. Now, the one thing the European Union wanted from the Pacific was to bring down increase access to these countries because their tariff rates were very high. Conversely, on the other side, there was not a lot that the Pacific Island countries could offer the European Union, one of the largest trading countries in the world, and therefore the Pacific Islands were very cautious not to give up too much of their protection too quickly. This bill would mean that actually New Zealand was giving up too much at a time when we have the ability to negotiate more. I want to take the case of Niue and come back to my analogy of coconut cream earlier, Mr Speaker. In Niue, they go out and pick coconuts, they make wonderful coconut milk, coconut cream, and great coconut cream factories over there. They get to export it to New Zealand without a tariff upon it at all. Now, countries elsewhere in Asia also produce coconut cream, and they could therefore get access to our country without any tariff restriction upon them, because there is tariff restriction. Well, Mr Speaker, that would mean that countries like Niue, the coconut cream producers there, and the Cook Islands, in many other countries where they produce great coconut cream, they actually would be under greater pressure because of this bill here. So, Mr Speaker, I think we shouldn't be doing it at all. And as the member opposite has just said, it tastes good, but it's not necessarily good for you. Certainly this bill wouldn't be good for those producers in the Pacific Islands. Now, Mr Speaker, just to finish very, very briefly, what I want to say is that if all of our trading partners were doing this tonight as well, all of our trading partners around the world were saying, let's get rid of all tariffs, that would be fantastic for New Zealand. But sadly, they are not. Sadly, it will take many years and a lot of hard work on the part of this government to sign more free trade agreements for us to have freer trade access, and therefore we must go step by step to do it. Mr Speaker, I commend the honourable member for bringing the bill to the House, but we won't be supporting it. Thank you.